All right, Ilir from Slice, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks, Bruce. Always excited to have a conversation with you.
I think this is like the second or third time we've done a podcast together.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been
Exactly.
a long road of knowing Slice and being aware of what you guys are doing. You guys have been doing it for a long time now. So give everybody who's new to my podcast, who's just started listening, like who you are and what you guys do.
Yeah, Slice is a platform that really our entire team is focused on helping primarily independent pizza shops become more successful. We do that now with three different products. We have a best-in-class commerce product, so online ordering and websites for pizza shops, specifically built for the industry. We have a point-of-sale system that is now connected to those websites and online ordering experiences. And then in select markets, we have a supplies business, mostly focused around packaging, like boxes and bags, where we bring discounted products to shops that are members of Slice.
That's great. So you use the products as independents have always tried to get together. And I've heard 1,000 times when I was operating and doing the podcast, hey, we should all get together and like use our buying power as one to buy, cheese or boxes or things that we all use a ton of, but nobody ever can seem to pull it off.
Yeah, well, I think it's an interesting problem. I try to really deeply understand where the bottlenecks are, and what I learned is that unless somebody steps up to provide both storage and scale and distribution, it's really difficult to
Yeah.
do that because you can buy in bulk, but one of the biggest bottlenecks for shops is storage space. These are typically smaller footprint locations, 1 to 3,000 square feet most often. And if you were to buy in bulk, you've got to figure out where to store all this product. And so we decided to actually just solve that problem. So we have warehousing and delivery vans that basically make these products available not only at massive discounts, typically 30 to 40% off what they would
Wow.
usually pay, but then make those available with free delivery same day. So it's almost like a storage space that shops have in the market, and they can call upon someone at Slice to deliver the product whenever they need it.
What products do you sell? Or
So folks can go and check it out at slicesupplies.com. The main products are boxes and bags. We're now starting to add things like containers, pizza liners, but I would say the anchor products are pizza boxes and bags.
the things that they use the most of?
Yeah, the most common denominator, most expensive aspects.
And what service area do you have at the moment?
Today we cover New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, South Florida,
Oh,
and
really?
the Philadelphia area. Yep.
Oh, South Florida. That's cool.
Yeah, we have a big warehouse in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, nice. I love that area. I didn't know you guys were down there.
Uh, I think we've got an opportunity to better tell our story.
Yeah, that's cool. So that's interesting because I'm sure there's a lot of people like me who didn't know that you had it. I knew you were very concentrated in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area because that's kind of where you guys started, but I didn't know you were
That's
in
right.
South Florida too.
Yeah, I mean, today we work with close to 20,000, again, primarily family-run independent pizza shops around the country. But where there's the most amount of engagement is absolutely in the Northeast. And I think we've got a good opportunity to be better at, again, communicating what Slice is and how we can help in regions outside of the Northeast.
That's crazy. Are you a tech guy? Like, are you like a coder and all that?
I used to be. I have a
Did you?
computer science background.
Okay.
My first business was a tech support company, which I franchised, by the way. So I know everything about the franchise model.
Would you do it
but
again that way?
would I franchise it again?
Yeah, like was franchising the best way for you to go? Like looking back on it now?
Yeah, franchising is a very powerful model. And we can talk a little bit about that because there's a lot of influence that I get, like a lot of inspiration I get from franchise models. And how do we
Yeah.
make those capabilities available to independents? But I would definitely do that again, yeah.
That's great. Yeah, a lot of people ask me about that. They want to expand. They don't know if they should license or franchise or just open them up themselves. They always get a little bit confused when it comes to that.
Yeah, I meet a lot of owners who want to franchise their concepts. It is a very different business model than the. I'll put it this way: For the first 3 years of that business, we were a tech support company. And then we needed to evolve into a company that enables tech support companies. And those skill sets are very different.
Yeah. So
Instead
like
of
running a pizzeria is different than helping people run a pizzeria.
very different. And helping people run a pizzeria successfully
Yeah.
and predictably, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I think you have to like I think everybody wants to franchise their business and like when especially in the pizza business, it seems like everybody who opens a pizzeria is like, oh, I'm gonna make 1,000 of these. But you really have to think like, all right, what makes your pizzeria different to be able to franchise that someone can't just go open their own?
I agree with you. I have also seen many cases where a an entrepreneur, a pizzeria owner, decides to really focus on one or two locations and maximize the value of those locations, and they end up becoming more successful than an operator who's looking to open 10 locations through a franchise model.
I agree. I think I've done 700 podcast episodes at this point, and there's definitely been a couple people who have, they do $5-6 million in one location a year, pizza,
Yeah.
and they're like, you know what? I don't want to open another one. I just like I'm happy. I make enough money doing this. I don't have a headache of managing multiple locations and managers, and I think that it's like everybody always talks about success, and I always say success is different for all people. Like what your success is different than what my success is, and I think you have to define it for yourself, and then work your business based on what you want the end goal to be, not listen
Agreed.
to outside noise.
Agreed. I mean, the most successful operators I know have somewhere between 1 to 10 locations in relatively close proximity, and they do an amazing job at running those locations. If you ask them to expand more, they don't want to do more. Um, it is probably the most rewarding setup, at least based on my experience.
Yeah. What made you guys decide to start like a point of sale system for Slice?
Yeah, over time, I think we've done a very good job solving for the online presence and online ordering, basically online commerce for shops. But over time, as more and more of the customer base moves online, you have this really complex problem that's happening at the shop, which is how do you reconcile now all these different channels? And how do you turn that into really easy workflow? And we thought about partnering with different point of sale companies. Our first option wasn't to really build one.
Yeah.
But what we realized was that the needs of pizza shops are so unique and very complicated that we couldn't really influence another point of sale company that is more focused on all restaurants to update their roadmap and tackle the challenges of pizza shops. And so we decided to build one. I would say our point of sale is built for both efficiency but also workflow because the point of sale itself, the definition of point of sale is where the sale is made. That is evolving, that is moving to an omni-channel approach. And now that point of sale solution is more of a workflow product. And that's what we're trying to build, which is how do you build easier workflow and how do you reconcile all the different channels so that for the employees, they can basically serve customers faster and be more successful.
Yeah, I think a lot of pizza shops too complain about when it comes to their point of sale system that it's not for pizza, like you just said. It's more for, they try to make it for everybody, and they are, all right, pizza is a segment of what we want to serve, so we got to do a couple things. But it doesn't do everything a pizza shop needs it to do, like half and half or a quarter or, side items and stuff.
There's a lot of modifiers. I
Yeah.
also think, I call them horizontal products. They're great products, but they're very bulky in terms of feature set
Yeah.
because they have to serve the needs of many different profiles of restaurants. And pizzeria owners want, I think, simplicity and efficiency. And so we've built our point of sale on an iPad because we wanted to really minimize the learning curve for an owner to use it. And so we get owners onboarded pretty quickly, and they know how to use it, just as fast as they learn how to use an iPad.
So it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
How much is it?
The point of sale product, it's a good question. I think for the most part, we offer it at no cost upfront.
You can't.
There's a $79 per month fee. And then best in class processing, we have discounted processing because we apply that bulk buying power to the processing model as well.
And it's for specifically for pizza shops. So if you're a pizzeria, like it's made for you.
It is specifically for pizza shops. Today and we've started off by solving the counter service pizza shops. So if you have like a full service restaurant that makes pizza, it's not quite yet a fit for you.
Yeah.
But if you're a traditional pizza shop, owner operated, counter, takeout delivery, I would probably say it's gotten to the point where it's best in class.
That's great. And I know that a lot of people that I've talked to on and off the podcast, they are moving to that model if they own a pizza shop or they want to start small. Like takeout,
Yep.
not even have delivery, do takeout, maybe a couple tables, but no wait staff. It's just like you order at the counter and go sit down and try to make as small as footprint as possible.
It is, I think there's clearly this new generation of operators who are starting that way, and they're killing it.
Yeah.
It's also less of a headache to manage and operate. It's also probably the format that is best suited for Slice to be able to help.
I always said that because people ask me, well, if you would you ever open a pizza shop again? And I'm like, well, probably not. But if I did, I would want it to be like 5 pizzas. Oh, you know who? I did a video with, have you heard of Garlic Breath Pizza? They're in Boston, so.
I have.
Okay, so I did a video with them, and the guy, 5 pizzas. If you look at his menu, like half your menu is missing. He's like, no, that's my whole menu. There's like 5, 6 things on the menu.
Incredible. My favorite.
And I'm like, that's my pizza shop. That's exactly what I would do if I was going to open a pizza shop. And he loves his life. He's like, I love making pizza. I don't make anything I don't want to make. I'm busy. I sell it every night, and I just do like 5 or 6 different pizzas. That's it.
It's really most often that format that is incredibly successful. I will tell you, there's a good analogy between that and Slice. The amount of times I get inbound requests for Slice to expand to other categories is, I mean, countless times every day. But what we want to do is be the best in the world at pizza. We want to be the best in the world at helping pizza shops succeed. And if we expanded, yeah, we would probably be good at pizza, but we wouldn't be great at it. We wouldn't be like really special at it. And so I really admire shops and operators who choose to focus on making, let's call it no more than 10 products.
Yeah.
Really, really, really well.
It's hard to do too, because I'm sure this guy, and I know because he talked to me about it, gets hammered with, hey, could you have this? Can you add this? Can you add that? And he's like, no, I can't. I'm sorry. It's easy to like get blinded by the money that you could make if you did add that. But it's hard to kind of be like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm sticking to what I know and I like to do.
Agreed. Yeah, I think those are awesome awesome brands. But yeah, that's what Slice is built for. That's what the Register product, which is our point of sale brand, is built for. And the other thing I'll say is we chose Apple and the Apple ecosystem as our main platform because of the stability of it. It is, knock on wood, an incredibly sound and dependable product because I know firsthand what kind of a mess it would be if the point of sale wasn't working on a Friday night. And so that is something we take really, really seriously. And the last thing I'll say about this is our level of service is unmatched because the other part of it is when something does go wrong or when help is needed, somebody will answer the call instantly. And that's something I'm really proud of and something that Slice is really well known for.
I think you guys have done a better job over the years too of differentiating yourself, because I think a lot of people in the beginning probably thought you were close to Uber or DoorDash or some of those third-party platforms. And I used to get a lot of emails from people. And you know what? That's kind of how we connected, because I would get an email. I think you came on the podcast, and I would shoot them to you, and you'd be like, you'd take care of it. And I'm like, all right. That's when I kind of started to trust you. Not that I didn't trust you before.
Oh, no,
like everybody who has a company says they're this or they're that. But that's when I really started like, you know what? Ilir really does stand behind what he says, because every time I've shot you a message, you're the CEO of this big company. You have hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of employees doing all this stuff. You'd answer the email and you'd respond to the customer. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive.
Well, that's why we're here. If I don't do that, then why would any one of my team members do that, right?
Right.
And so
I just think that's a really good way to kind of bridge that gap between what you say of, well, not those third-party platforms, because those third-party platforms could not care less. And I've emailed them before, and they don't care. Never heard back. It's crickets. So I think you guys have done a great job of kind of differentiating yourself. But do you still have to deal with that? Do people still think you're part of like the third-party platforms?
Yeah, of course. But it's not really their fault. This is, in many ways, the perception we have created by leaning in on one product over another over the years. So, for example, Slice scaled with an online ordering and website product that is a really great product. And then around 2018, we launched the Slice app. And the Slice app is an extension of that online product, but we went really aggressive and decided to onboard shop partners on the Slice app only, for a couple of years. And so, when you call shop owners and say, hey, there's this Slice app, there's millions of consumers on this product, there's all these shops on this product, you should join, that is the expectation we set. And so I think we've got to do a better job at telling the broader story of why we exist versus only focusing on one area.
What are you the most proud of from all the products that you guys do?
First I will say I will define a product as everything a company does, and it's not just the technology, but it's the entire package. It's the software, the hardware, and the service that is complementing that. What I'm most proud of is I will still go back to the level of service we provide, because companies aren't perfect, products aren't perfect, but I am incredibly proud of the fact that whenever something does break, or whenever a shop owner needs Slice, or whenever one of their customers needs help, I am confident we are at the top of the game in terms of our ability to respond quickly and our ability to own and resolve some of those issues. So I'll say that from a level of service. From a product standpoint, we probably have the where we make the greatest amount of impact is when a shop trusts Slice with managing their customer base, because we're somewhat of a CRM tool, which is a customer relationship management tool. When a shop trusts Slice to manage the customer base and communicate to that customer base, I think that part of our product works wonders anytime we are given a chance. And so I'm very proud of that, because I think that is where the biggest opportunity exists for most pizzerias. So let me say it a little bit more broadly. Every pizzeria owner I talk to is obsessed with new customers. How do I get new customers? How do I get new customers? How do I get more customers? And what I'm always trying to do is help them see that the value that exists, that they can create more than anywhere else, is in maximizing the value of the customers they already have. There's an opportunity to expand what's called the LTV, lifetime value, of the existing customers. And only then will you automatically actually start getting new customers, because your reputation is going to be so strong and your reputation is going to be so powerful in the community that new customers will come in through referrals.
Yeah.
So I would hope that owners start shifting their attention to their existing customer base versus being sort of this really obsessed with new customers.
I 100% agree with that. I used to do these marketing podcasts where I'd be like, all right, who wants like a marketing review? And I'd take anybody from the audience. We'd go over their social media. The question I'd always ask them is, do you do any email marketing or text marketing? And 95% of the time they were like, no, I have email, but I don't do it. And I don't do any text marketing. And I'm like, well, why do you want to grow on Instagram so bad or on TikTok so bad if you're not emailing people who are already calling you and ordering from you? Like, that's the first thing that you should do. Email your, like you said, email your existing customer, kind of set up some sort of CRM where you can have auto replies go out, or segmented emails at specific times based on behavior go out, and then text. Like, those two things are going to get you business now. Social media is like, may get you business, but it's more vanity and it's like a more branding thing. But email and text is going to get you business right now. Money in your pocket.
are you staying top of mind
Yeah.
with customers who have already a relationship with you, and you can somewhat predict the next time um, that they are high intent, that they want to or are in a position to order from you again, and are you
Yeah.
top of mind in that moment? And then I will say, when something goes wrong, what do you do? Um, how do you treat your existing customer base when something goes wrong? Um, I see a lot of promotions of like, get X amount of dollars off on your first order. Cool. What does that say to all of your existing customers?
Right.
What message are you sending that they don't matter? What if you work on some program that incentivizes the existing customer base to come back more often? Maybe order for lunch if they don't order. So we see all this data. It's like, when a customer orders for dinner, can you get them to order lunch? When they order on a Friday, can you get them to order on a Tuesday? Um, and so when you see that behavior and you see those patterns, yeah, we have a whole team of 100 plus people who all they do is focus on these patterns, and they try and re-engage existing customers. That's the
That's
product that I think is the best in class.
that's amazing. And it's kind of set up for the pizza owner. They just like kind of say, I want to do that, and you can just like set it up for them.
It happens behind the scenes because Slice is incentivized to increase orders.
So your
Like,
partnership with the pizzeria.
if we don't grow orders, we don't get paid.
Yeah,
And
that's great.
so there's 800 people who only think about order growth.
So you have 800-person team on your team. If you're a 2-person pizzeria, that's like, all right, they're trying to think of how to help you grow your business too, just like you are.
Yeah, you're basically plugging into this team, and they work for you in the background.
That's great.
And I said order growth, not customer growth, and that is a very different problem to solve.
Order growth meaning the average ticket order or amount of money what customer spends.
Number of orders per customer, and then average order value. So how do you get customers to order more often? And how do you get them to order one more item whenever they do place an order?
That's great. So when I was operating, one of our best performing pieces of marketing was, we were pretty early to the online ordering game. We were doing our online ordering in the early 2000s, like when it wasn't a thing. Like it wasn't as popular. It was like back then people were kind of skeptical to put their credit card information in the computer.
Oh, I
So
remember.
so it was like, yeah, it's kind of hard to get them to do it. But one of our best performing marketing things was like someone would order online, maybe a couple hours after, if it was during the day, or the next morning, an automated email would go out and be like, hey, this is Bruce from XYZ Pizza. How was your order last night? I saw you ordered. Just want to check in, see how everything was. Hit reply, goes right to my email. I just want to know. And that was the first email. And like, 9 times out of 10, it would be like, oh, everything was great, or you wouldn't get a response. And then one person would be like, yeah, you know what? I wasn't going to say anything, but you forgot my ranch dressing. And I'm like, oh man, so sorry about that. Here's, $5 off your next order. But then we would have this thing where it would be like a 3-day sequence after that. And it'd be like, hey, the next day they'd get an email and be like, hey, if you order in the next 72 hours, here's $6 off your complete order, or 25% off, or whatever the promotion was that time. Because we were trying to incentivize. We realized that if we can get this person who ordered today to order again in the next 3 days, like that's extra money that they wouldn't have ordered normally.
I mean, that aligns so much with how I think about not only a pizza shop, but really any business.
Yeah.
Any business. Like, let's think about Slice. What if all we ever did was just obsess about getting new shops on the platform, but all these existing partners we didn't really pay much attention to? We just sort of said, hey, maybe you'll remain a customer, maybe you won't. Really, the magic in any successful business is, what is the retention strategy for your customers? And I think that is a perfect example, and you get feedback loops. Very, very powerful.
Yeah, if you can lower the churn, you don't have to worry about getting new customers.
Exactly.
It's just like, if you can get your customers to be, if you can just, like you said, there's a lot of businesses and pizzerias that I've talked to. I talked to one this morning. I did an interview with someone today, and he's like, I've been doing this for a year. And he's like, I literally grew this business one pizza at a time. He's like, I sell 100 pizzas a day now. When I first started, at the end of the day, I worked 10 hours. I'd look at the thing, I made $80. So I'm like, he's like, but every day it was like, the next day was 82. The next day was 84. The next day was 92. And he's like, I just made sure every pizza, every customer was happy. And now I'm selling 100 pizzas a day, but it took me a year to get here. So slow and steady.
Absolutely. And then, personalization is a
Yeah.
big part of that. So
So you help, like, I think a lot of pizza businesses have a hard time knowing what to send for emails or for text messages. Like, they don't know. They're like, I know I should do it, but I don't know what to say.
we do everything's automated. So basically, for every shop, we have a shop specific, shop branded CRM profile and life cycle. And so in the shop's brand, and with that brand, we say when somebody places an order, we send a big thank you message, similar to I think what you just described.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of feedback that comes in, and we share that feedback with owners on the owners app. We don't publish it, so when there's constructive feedback, we don't put it online for everybody else to see. We just give it to the owner, and they can decide what to do with that next. Um, but everything that we do is based on the consumer behavior of that shop, and it's with the brand of the shop. So we will send a combination of emails, push notifications on the app, and text message marketing based on time of day, day of week, and the customer's behavior. Now, what we don't do is what owners often call blasts, like email blasts or text message blasts. The reason we don't do that is because that's not really very smart. It implies that all your customers are the same, they behave the same, and it often is expensive because you're giving everyone a discount, even though in some cases their behavior doesn't require one.
Right.
And so what we want to do is we want to look at, we know that if a customer doesn't return in 2 weeks, the likelihood they'll come back is very low. So we'll trigger some notification or some email to incentivize them to return. Oftentimes, those incentives are slice funded because again, we're incentivized to do that. And so, yeah, Slice is just kind of working behind the scenes on a daily basis, sending emails, push notifications, or even text messages on behalf of the shops on our network in order to re-engage customers to come back and reorder.
That's great. And you don't share. So if I'm a pizza shop in where I live, my town, and another pizza shop in my town we both use Slice. You don't share the information from the customer base with each shop, do you?
We don't. However, there is a reality that I think shops have to accept. And I've been using this analogy recently with shop owners because I think it's very important that we educate the industry on this. In any neighborhood, there are always, let's call it, 3 or 4 different pizza shops. Now, the reality is that the consumers in that neighborhood, the people who live there, they are loyal to 3 different locations. And it's not for any reason where they don't like one over the other. The reality is they just like to switch it up. Maybe
Yeah.
they like the chicken parm hero at one. Maybe the other one has somewhat more expensive pizza because it's more gourmet. But whatever the case may be, our data shows this clearly as it can be, which is consumers love 4 shops. And so they rotate. And so I think what shops you have to understand is that they share customers with other shops. And it's not to the detriment or benefit of either one. Now, the way we share data is if a customer places an order from any shop, then that data is made transparent to the shop, and they can also take that data, download it, and do whatever else they want to do with it. And so the analogy I've been using is friends. Yeah, you and I are friends, but I also have other friends. Now, just because I have another friend doesn't make us any less friends, right? It just means that I have a group of friends that I like to spend time with. And so I'm actually exploring this possibility of creating more of a follow mechanism with Slice, where consumers follow shops so that shops can actually see who they share customers with.
Oh, that's an interesting
And
idea.
maybe they can work together on programs that can incentivize customers to return to both locations.
That's an interesting idea. And as you're explaining, like the people go to 3 or 4 shops, I'm thinking of my town and me. Like I'm thinking of my town. There's probably, live in a pretty small town. It's only like 15,000 people. I think there's.
Let me guess how many shops there are, because I know the data. If
All right,
there's
take a guess.
15,000 people, there's typically 2 shops, 1 shop for every 2,000 people. I'm going to guess you have somewhere around 6 to 7 shops.
Yeah, I think there's six. I think there's six shops that are like pizza places, right? Like there
Yeah.
may be a restaurant that has a pizza
Yeah.
flatbread or something, but not a pizza shop. And I do the same thing. Like I go to, I think there's three of them that I go to religiously. And it's not like I don't like them. If I go to one, it's not that I don't like the other two. It's just like one has Detroit style pizza, so I go there this week. One has better delivery service, so I don't want to go out. I order from there. One has a better customer service, and sometimes I just forget. Like I go to one place for a couple months in a row, and I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of sick of that place. I've been there 6 times in the last 6 months, and I'm gonna go try this. I'm gonna go to the next place now because it's just something new and different. So you're right. Just because someone goes to another pizza shop doesn't mean they're never coming back to you. It just means like maybe they want to mix it up a little bit.
And the best shop owners I know that, and they actually work with other shops in their neighborhood. The least successful shops I know are so obsessed about competition, and they're
Yeah.
so obsessed about just kind of being on their own that they actually are hurting their business. Bruce, you know this better than I do. The most successful shop owners are actually today doing collaborations with other shop owners.
I just saw it this morning. I just saw, my friend Alex from Hot Tongue Pizza in Los Angeles did a collab with another. I mean, they're in San Francisco, but they're California based with Mark from Square Pie Guys, and they're doing a collaboration
Mark is
inside
awesome.
Hot Tongue Pizza. So you're absolutely right. It's so different now. I think the internet made it a little easier to collab with people. Like, so my brother-in-law was my like mentor growing up. Like I met him when I was like 16, 17 years old, and I worked for him. And then we partnered together, and that was a long time ago. When I worked for him, everything was very secretive. Like people would like peel the label off their tomato cans and then throw them in the trash because they thought someone was going to steal their recipe. Even though we all use the same tomatoes, we all use the same flour. Like there's not that many different types of flour for the average pizza shop. But I see that change now. I see like a lot more collaboration with people, and it just makes you happier, and like you get to network with people and get ideas and bounce ideas back and forth. And yeah, like they may be a competitor, but there's so many people out there that you can't look at them as competition. It's like you're a
The market
community.
is so massive. The
Yeah.
industry, the customer base is so massive. Um, my number one advice to owners is change your mind from thinking of other shops around you as competition to getting to know them, work closer. There is more than enough business for everybody involved. And I will tell you the success or failure of a shop has nothing to do with competition. It has to do with how you run your shop.
Yep.
That's it.
I 100% agree that. Well, I got good news and bad news. Good news is that was a great interview. Bad news is I had a list of questions that I sent you. I don't think I asked you one of them.
Let's get to it.
Let's say, all right, what kind of trends do you see in the pizza industry that you're excited about? What trends do you see happening?
The trend that I see that I think is very powerful, but it's probably the more difficult path, is um, shops moving back to self-delivery. Shops going
Really?
from outsourcing delivery to third parties to taking delivery on directly themselves. Now, for Slice, we are not a delivery service provider. For most of the shops, 85% of the time, the pizzerias have self-delivery on our platform. And then for 15% of the shops, we have partnered with DoorDash Drive to make Drive available at a discount to shops who have no drivers. And I want to just be honest, intellectually honest. The customer experience and the feedback of self-delivery relative to third-party delivery isn't even close. The retention of customers with self-delivery is 3 times greater than third-party delivery customers. And so I think for that reason, I get very excited when I see shops take on delivery themselves, because takeout and delivery for this industry is at the core of the business.
Yeah.
And I was talking to someone in the tech space recently, and they said, well, why do you think that is? I said, well, imagine you're a full-service restaurant and you outsource your dining room. Would you ever do that? Would you outsource your dining room if your primary source of revenue was the dining room. Well, if your primary source of revenue is delivery, would you like why are we outsourcing that?
Right.
And I know it's hard because the first answer I get is, well, it's really hard to find drivers and retain drivers. And I understand that. It's also hard to manage a dining room. But running a business is hard. And in fact, what excites me the most about Slice is solving very difficult problems. So that's a long-winded answer, but I think I'm very excited about the trend of self-delivery over time.
I love that. And so that's my background. Our pizzeria was, 75% delivery. We'd have 15 delivery drivers on a Friday night. And it was like two businesses because you'd have the pizza shop with the takeout. We had a small dining room. We only had seat 50 people. So it was like 10 tables. So it wasn't like wait staff. It was just kind of order at the counter and go sit down.
Yep.
But half the, we do thousands of dollars on a Friday night out the back door. And it was like, all right, we had a manager for deliveries and we had a manager for the kitchen because the delivery manager had to just sit there for 4 hours just kind of organizing and making sure all the drivers knew where they were going. But technology nowadays helps way better than it did before. Like, we didn't have maps on our phone when I started back then. You had like the flip phone and map on the wall, and you're like, all right, I'm here, I need to get there, and you like map out the route before you left. Now you just put it on your phone. So
yeah, and there's great technology companies that are only focused on this problem.
Yeah.
I know Empower Delivery, Meredith is doing a good job. Ship Day, Nash. There's a bunch of companies that are working on this problem. So that's a trend that I think I'm pretty excited by.
That's interesting. I think that's a good thing. And I think, what happened to maybe the cyclical fashion of the third-party deliveries is like coming to the bottom now because I think there's a lot of regulation out there with are they employees or are they not employees? So that's probably hurting those people too.
There's regulation, there's cost, and I think for a lot of pizza shops who never delivered, maybe it was, I'll call training wheels. It's the way you learn whether delivery works or not, but then eventually you have to do it yourself.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? We're going to save these questions for another podcast because
Okay.
Let's just end it there. I know you're going to cut out in a couple minutes, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. Where can people go if they want to get information about Slice or sign up or get more info? Where should they go?
They can just go to slicelife.com, slicelife.com. Although soon I hope to have a better domain for everybody, a more proper domain that I'll share it at a later time.
Yeah, we'll link it up. When you get that done, just send it up to me. We can link it up in the show notes for this episode.
Go to slicelife.com or just follow Slice on Instagram @Slice.
You guys on all the social platforms, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok?
All the platforms, and it's @Slice, I think, across the board.
All right, cool. We'll link it up in the show notes for this episode. Ilir, thank you so much for joining me. It was always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Bruce. Awesome talking to you.